Business as usual. I'm sure for a lot of us following this week, it doesn't really feel all that usual. And for my piece, I'll leave it there. If you follow me on other social media platforms, then you know exactly how I feel. But the business of sneakers and that being usual, that depends on which perspective you're viewing sneakers from right now in 2024. Also, is there recency bias in there? Because for some, if we're looking at consumers, it's an amazing time. It's a really good time. We've discussed that in numerous videos. You have the ability to go out and enjoy so many different pairs. Unless you were trying to secure a pair via the whole Wu-Tang drop on their website, then that's probably not the case. But let's just look at everything else, okay? That is just one singular release, and I'm really hoping it goes far better for so many just fans of them trying to attain the shoe this weekend based on when this video drops. But if we're looking from a consumer perspective, great time. Depending on which retailer you're looking at the current market and business as usual from, they're thriving. They're doing great. Wolverine, which owns Saucony, they're doing amazing. Shout out to Jay Tips and the excitement generated for that brand. If you look at Adidas, stock has dropped some, but I think they're definitely still doing amazing just within the current landscape. With their collaborations, they're catching people's attention. I've already touched on their base models being at a really good price point. So when you bring in a collaboration, it means that you're not beating consumers over the head. I can't necessarily say the same for Nike and for Jordan because we know that their prices are, well, quite up there. And you know what? I just think consumers, they actually value real value a little bit more, right? That could come from comfort. It can be based on accessibility, affordability, but then that very coveted cost per wear factor. And thank you guys so much for always giving me great feedback on that video and how it's played a part in how you think of purchases now. I didn't know the impact that it would have, but it certainly applies to me, as I can't even fathom too often these days wanting to pay certain price points for things, knowing just how little they'll probably be worn. But I think consumers value actual value, and whatever that means to them, it will differ for each of us as consumers. But I think that shift in how consumers are just going about sneakers, it changed a whole lot. Now, when it comes to changes that could be on the way, let's break this down into a few things. As consumers, we always have the ability to invoke change in a way that is beneficial for us by speaking with our dollar. Now, in sneakers, will people do that? Absolutely not, because you are addicted to buying sneakers. It's okay, just it's okay to admit it. I'm sure I can comfortably say at one point, yep, I was the person that would get very defensive if you said, well, why don't you just stop then for a little bit? Because I would say, well, I don't have to because I'm easily able to afford them and I can do whatever I want. Yeah, I don't know if a lot of people are ready to sit with their identity being so linked to buying new pairs that for you to ever suggest they maybe don't for even a short period of time, you would think you have committed just crazy atrocities against them. Like you will. This all the defensive behavior will show. Right? They will become very emotional. And I think that is the very scary part when so much of who we may see ourselves as, it's linked and it's tied to something, especially a material something, because that can be such a tricky road depending on how you're funding that. But I don't think that consumers will ever actually speak en masse with their dollars in terms of maybe affecting prices, right? Being able to lower the prices of what these shoes are because they've crept up there. I'm not the only one that notices this. You notice this because the retros that were at one point 190 are now just bare minimum 225 and 230. We have the ability to speak and change things. Now, some have because they would rather opt to go with an A6, maybe that 150 to 160 New Balance. Maybe they are still within that Nike Jordan brand family, but they've shifted to that 150, 160. They have maybe just gravitated to more Air Maxes or the Vomero 5. Definitely a favorite of mine. But it's interesting when you will see a number of people, and I don't care if it's consumers under comment sections on social media, I don't care if it's creators on this platform. You can watch them audibly say to you, yeah, this price is outrageous. And then in the very same breath tell you they're still going to pay it. This is why I don't have faith in group projects. Because you guys just don't follow through. Now, back in 2019, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 2019. I made a video related to tariffs then and how they could potentially affect sneakers.
Tariffs inflationary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why?
Why? Who pays for tariffs? Not the company that you are tariffing. So let's use the favorite example. China exports stuff to us and then we tariff them, right? We as an importer of Chinese goods pay for the tariffs, not China. I think that's what the most important fact that people need to understand is that the company exporting the product does not pay for the tariff. How it works is this. They put stuff on a boat. It arrives here. When the company that imports it and distributes and sells it, let's say Costco, whatever, the distributor, goes to the port and takes it, they pay for the tariff there.
At the port.
At the port, yeah, it's all clear when you clear customs.
Okay.
It's collected there. And basically what happens is when the product reaches the shelves, it's more expensive now. So what would
So there's more cost to get
well,
it
it's like
here.
I did that example before, right?
Let's spin that block on around 2024, heading into 2025 and the next 4 years, because those tariffs could play a real part. Not just for sneakers, for so many things. Sneakers is actually just so inconsequential of how Americans could be affected by tariffs if they go into place. And too often people don't even understand what tariffs are. Yet they were in favor of them, not understanding that you complaining about the cost of living already, please get ready to complain like you have never complained before. And I do not have the empathy to care. I don't. I don't like it. It's strained for my body. But if you're taking a look at sneakers, okay, I don't care who the brand is. And again, and this goes for outside of sneakers and footwear. Those brands, those companies will pass on that higher cost to you, the consumer. And because there is this deep burning desire and need to not sleep, must-haves on your list, since you have that, you're still going to pay that. So like it becomes difficult to feel sorry for people if they are complaining about the actions that they are choosing to take, even if it is detrimental to themselves. Because if and when, I really do think they will, right, tariffs take effect, one, I promise other countries will also take action. You know what? Go ahead. Everyone views us as super arrogant anyway, and they are not wrong. So, it'll be a time. But for sneakers, once that cost passes on to the consumer, what will you choose to do? Some of you have already pulled back, right? We have these conversations on a regular. A lot of us have already pulled back on not even daring to spend certain amounts on shoes. Wait for the sale. If you wait 5 to 7 business days, the shoe goes on sale unless it's like a Travis Scott. And even then, I am struggling to figure out the allure when it comes to all of these Travises. I don't understand it like that. I do and I don't. They have hook, line, and sinker. They have people, okay? I am struggling, like, why? But if these tariffs go into place and you're having to pay more, what do you choose to do as a consumer? Do consumers make the decision to pull back? Because would I want any industry to necessarily suffer? No, because there are people whose livelihoods are wrapped up in these industries because this is their job, this is their career, this is their profession. But actions have consequences. I did a recent video on how much will it cost you for every single sneaker, or more specifically retros coming out in 2025 that you claim are a must-have and you just can't sleep on them. That amount was over $5,000. So what happens if brands need to then, down the line, let's not even just stick with 2025 down the line, and they need to up the prices because they got to cover their costs. They want the same profit margin. I promise you, as an investor, I will be looking at them like, what are we doing to address the profit margin? What are you doing? That falls on Elliot now. What are you doing? So the brand is going to want to continue to have the same profit margin, which means they're going to pass that higher increased cost to you. What's going to happen? I'm curious. Does that affect how many pairs you think you'll buy in 2025 if these go into effect right away? If the prices change 2026, 2027, do you shift into that, hey, I'm good, let me step back, I have everything that I need? Because real world consequences will no doubt affect footwear. And more importantly, it will affect you individually, financially. I do not give one shoe two shits about these sneakers if you do not have your finances in order. This is never to say that you shouldn't go out and enjoy sneakers and enjoy things that you love. By all means, do it. Is there a point in which I feel like it becomes way too much and overwhelming? Yes, that point will be different for everyone, and some of you never reach that point, and that you do you. But if you are someone complaining, and I'm going to say this as direct as I can, about the cost of gas or eggs or anything for basic cost of living, sneakers should not even be a priority in your day-to-day life. It shouldn't. Because you stressing about trying to get the $200 shoe, that $200 could easily cover that higher cost of living for at least what, gas, groceries, maybe utilities. This is absolutely the time to get your shit together. It is. This is the time before changes would go into effect. So, I will leave it there. And if you didn't catch my recent video, 80% of the time we're wearing like 20% of our sneakers. And a lot of you confirm that. So, do we change it? I'm starting to. Buying less, selling more, and I will continue that. I'll give an updated count near the end of the year of where I started in 2024 and where I am ending in my sneaker count. A lot of progress, not necessarily at my goal, but I'm certainly still working towards it. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. I really do hope you have a peaceful weekend. Just take care of yourself. As always, act your age, not your shoe size. Peace.